Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the February 2nd, 2021 Board of Selectmen meeting to order. It is now 7 p.m. Just a reminder that this meeting is being recorded audio and visually. If you have comments to make when we get to the citizens comments section, you will be able to unmute yourself and state your
You
name.
are breaking up on me. Is
address.
it just my computer?
So all three selectmen are present. Our recording secretary Dottie Durst is present, so we are set to roll. I make a motion that we approve the Board of Selectmen meeting minutes from January 19th,
Ken, are
2020.
you able to hear Amy okay?
Yes. Yeah, I can hear you, Suzanne.
This is Dottie. I can hear Amy and Suzanne.
Hey, Dottie.
Okay, so I make a motion that we accept the Board of Selectmen meeting minutes from January 19th, 2021.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on those minutes? Anything? Oops. Oh, did we lose Suzanne?
Yeah, she fell off.
Yeah, I'll continue until we get Suzanne back. She must have been having some audio problems. I did notice one error, Dottie. Chief Matt Grauer is actually from Thompson Hill Fire Department. And the assistant chief and EMS ambulance administrator of the community ambulance is Josh Cusack. It's K-U-S-E-K. Those are two adjustments that I'd like to see made to the minutes. Did you have any adjustments, Ken, or anything you noticed?
No, I didn't. I didn't see anything.
Okay. All right. Okay, and Dottie gave me the thumbs up. Suzanne's back. Suzanne, can you hear us?
Yes, I don't know what was happening, but you kept coming in and out.
Okay. Can you hear us better now?
I can.
So I made the motion and Ken seconded it. And I had two adjustments that I wanted to make. The first was Chief Matt Grauer was listed as the chief of Quinnebog. And I said that he's chief of Thompson Hill Fire Department. And then I corrected the spelling on Josh Cusack's name,
Excellent.
which Dottie gave me the thumbs up. Did you have anything else from those minutes?
I didn't see anything. I didn't pick up on that either.
Okay.
So good catch.
All right. So all in favor of approving the Board of Selectmen meetings minutes from January 19th, 2021, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And that passes. Make a motion that we accept the Board of Selectmen special meeting minutes from January 22nd, 2021.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on those minutes?
The only thing that I would put into that is that I had my concerns about the budget ordinance change at this time.
Okay, so that was something that Dottie did not do, so I will make sure that Kelly makes that adjustment. And it's noted, and there was also the links for the meeting recording, and there'll be the link for tonight's meeting recording as well. So I will make sure that Kelly makes that adjustment. Okay, any other?
I don't have
adjustments?
anything.
Okay, all in favor of approving the January 22nd, 2021 meeting minutes, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? That motion passes. I'll make a motion that we accept the Board of Selectmen special meeting minutes from January 26, 2021.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Any discussion?
The only thing that I would change on there is I was absent due to a faulty link for the meeting.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay. I thought it was
No.
just because we ran
Yeah,
so
it
late.
was the link.
It was the link. Yeah, it was totally the link and what was sent, and it
Okay,
just,
that's right. Okay.
Yep.
Sorry about that, Ken. I'll make that adjustment as well. Any other discussion?
No. Not from me.
nope, good.
All right, all in favor of approving the minutes from January 20, the special Board of Selectmen special meeting from January 26, 2021, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay, and that motion passes. On to agenda item 2, correspondence. We have the police services report for December. Is there any other correspondence that either selectman might have?
I don't have anything.
I don't think so.
Okay, I don't either. All right, moving on, agenda item 3, selectmen comments. Any selectmen comments at this time?
I have something I wanted to toss around with the Board of Selectmen is the thought of adding to the charge of the building committee, the possibility of having them look into the soccer fields. I know you guys know that's one of the things that I would like to see fix the drainage issue. And I know it's had some attention to it, but nothing's been done about it. And I would love to see that added to them as well as the track, the school track. Thoughts?
Is this something that we want to have added to the agenda tonight, or something we want to put some thought into? What do you think? What are your thoughts, Suzanne?
I am not familiar with how the process works to request. I think we would need to ask them if they would add it to their charge, because typically the building committee will disband after they've completed whatever the selectmen have charged them with. And then when there's some new items to be looked into, big items, then a building committee would be formed again. So it would be requesting that they add it to their charge.
Yeah.
Is John Rice? Yeah, okay. So
Yeah, John Rice is in. Why don't we add it just for discussion purposes? We
Add
could
it-
add it to other business.
all right, let's do that.
That's
So
fine.
under other, I'll make a motion that we add the building committee charge to other business.
I'd second that. Any other discussion on adding that to the agenda tonight under other business? Okay, all in favor of adding this agenda item to other business, discussion of the soccer fields and track, adding to the charge of the building committee, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? And we will be adding that to other business tonight. That's agenda item 11. Okay, any other selectmen comments?
Just thanks to the town crew for the job that they did clearing up the roads. This was a very nagging storm that just kept on going with whiteout conditions, et cetera with it. When you're getting upwards of 12 to 18 inches of snow, it's a long and tedious 36, 48 hours that those guys were out there. And we owe them a lot of thanks for the job that they do for us.
Yep, absolutely, always.
I have not seen the news because I had a busy day, but how many inches did we get? Does anyone know?
I was thinking about a foot.
That would be my guess.
Yeah,
And
it's
up with
somewhere in that
drifting.
area.
Yeah,
But not more. Okay, I heard. it-
obviously, other parts of the state got much more than we did, so we can be grateful.
Yeah.
I
Well,
closed,
a foot is a lot.
I was trying to be proactive and I closed town hall yesterday and I waited and it was like, I was in the office and I just was like, when is it gonna snow? So, but better safe than sorry.
That's right.
There isn't much you can do with that. You can only go by the weatherman and the
Yeah.
timelines. that
I
they're
wasn't the
predicting
only town
is
hall.
coming in. Yeah.
Most of the town halls in the area were closed, or closed
And
pretty early, so.
the forecast I was watching said it was going to start a lot earlier.
Well, and when I woke up at 4 a.m. and got started my day and it was like snowing crazy. And as soon as I made the call, it's like it stopped snowing. So just my luck. It's all good though. It's all good.
Not good.
So what I want to announce, it's something pretty exciting. Melinda had gotten in touch with me on Friday and we have collaborated together once again. And we are helping to coordinate vaccinations for our 75 and older population. If you are 75 and older in the town of Thompson and you are having a difficult time getting a vaccine, you can call the Selectmen's office. We will take some information down. We are working with Walgreens in Putnam, and they will assist in scheduling the appointments directly through through the Selectmen's office in town. Additionally, we are working to provide bus transportation for our older residents who do not have transportation means. And Melinda has contacted DATCO. They're going to be working with us directly to ensure that these residents can get the vaccinations that they need. So I just trying to get that out there. We are working with Quinnebog Park. We're working with Gladys Green Apartments, and I will be reaching out to Carriage Square Apartments now that I have the information and know what we're doing for that. So I'm excited to be doing this for our older population and to help them, because I know the last time I think I was in our selectmen meeting, I was having a difficult time getting my dad signed up for a vaccine. And it's not easy, even if you're able to navigate the internet pretty well. So so this is a great thing.
I totally agree.
Yeah,
And I'm excited to hear this, Amy.
yeah.
So the school will provide transportation for anyone in town?
Right.
Anywhere in town?
We were going to kind of pilot it with the two locations, Gladys Green and Quinnebog Park. So we had more of one location, but we will be able to do pickups throughout town. We'll work with DATCO. They'll set up a bus route for pickups, and yeah, and we'll get it done. Six residents at a time would be able to be scheduled. And Walgreens, the pharmacy manager, Wendy, there is super excited. She says, this is what we need. We need to think outside the box and help these residents, these elderly population get vaccinated.
That's awesome. How are we getting the word out?
This meeting, Winnie is here tonight. I see Cherie is in the meeting. I'm assuming that's Cherie from Winnie Radio. We're working directly with Quinnebog Park, and I'm working directly with Deb Flanagan from the Housing Authority and Gladys Green Apartments.
And Pineview Court.
So that's the start. So
hopefully Winnie will let the residents know that they can call the selectman's office directly, right? To
yes,
schedule it?
yes.
Perfect.
So,
That's wonderful, because I've been working with elders in Mass, trying to get them signed up and get COVID shots, and it's not easy.
it's not.
And
It's not. I
transportation
mean,
is one of the big obstacles.
it's great now because CVS is also doing the vaccinations. That has been a godsend to have the vaccinations coming directly from the pharmacies. They're used to doing it because of the flu season and flu shots. So they're very well equipped to do it. And yeah, I'm super excited.
Excellent. Good news.
What's the possibility of asking the Department of Health out of Brook, our NDDH, because they were issuing shots at their location, that if you're looking at transportation and everything else, is it possible that they coordinate, actually sending a team down, say, to the library community center?
Currently, no. Currently, Connecticut is not allowing the vaccines to be brought to distribute to sites. They will go to, and this is what Wendy, the pharmacy manager, told me, they will go to long-term care facilities, but you cannot set up a site in a parking lot or in a school or they have to stay right on site. They're not allowing them to transport the vaccines to various locations at this time. I love the idea of it though.
But how are they doing it at Rensselaer Field in Hartford?
I don't know.
Probably
Okay,
set up.
so that's what I'm saying. If they can do it there's nothing stopping us, if it's properly coordinated, doing it at the Library Community Center. I mean, your next group that's coming up is from 65 to 75, part of that 1B. And, you know, people drive down, it's in town, and make it a lot easier. It'd be more beneficial if we could do it right here in town, if it at all possible.
Well, I mean, I can certainly, you know, check some other resources, but, yeah.
I don't know the program and what they've devised for administering the vaccines in Connecticut, because I work in Mass, but in Mass, they're doing it in phases. So the nursing homes were the first phase, and now like the housing complexes with elderly are the second phase.
Mhm.
So, and then, you know, they'll go on from there, but they were not allowing the vaccine out of the pharmacies either.
Right.
But they've contracted with Walgreens and CVS in their corporate office.
Mhm.
So I don't know. But I think this is a great start.
Well, it's a good start. It's a good start. It's better than nothing.
Oh, no,
and
it's
certainly
great to
we
do
can
it.
certainly expand upon it and hopefully grow it and make it something even bigger.
Right.
So,
And I think, Ken, at some point, they're going to have to set up something like that at the library or some town hall or someplace for people to go and have the vaccine, because they're not going to be able to vaccinate. I know it's a process and they can only do so many in an hour, but still, I think they're going to have to
mhm.
make it more accessible.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and Wendy, the pharmacy manager that I've been speaking to, has been working directly with Linda Colangelo and collaborating with Linda Colangelo. So if there was a mechanism to make it bigger, I would assume they would be exploring that as well. But I can certainly check in with Sue and Linda
Yeah.
Colangelo.
I would have to think that the Pfizer one is the one that's more difficult to handle because that has a very short shelf life once it's open, where the Moderna is almost, you know, at 32 degrees or whatever.
Well,
So
they're
there is a
only
difference between the two.
And
they're only getting the vaccines that they're booked for at this point. So they'll just get an extra shipment based on our needs. And they've assured me that they'll be hiring or bringing in an extra pharmacy tech to administer our shots for our
Yeah.
residents.
No, you're missing what I was saying. One of the vaccines has a very short shelf life that has to be 92 degrees below zero, where
Right.
the other one can be stored in a refrigerator.
Mhm.
So that makes it very difficult doing one of those off-site.
They can keep the Pfizer in a refrigerator for 5 days is what I was told.
But once they open the vial,
Right.
you only get like 6
Right.
doses and you have to use it all 6 within I think it's like a 3-hour period.
Mhm. Right. So,
Anyway, I think that's great news.
yeah. On another note, February 24th is our town meeting. It's coming up.
Yeah.
I was hoping that the board, because even though, Ken, I know that you were sort of shocked or skeptical or you weren't really on board with us moving forward with the town meeting to combine the budgets into one vote at this time. Throughout all of our discussion over the last couple months, you were always in favor of the potential of combining the budgets. So what I would like to propose is us as a board, maybe working on a promotional video of some sort that we can get out to the residents and discuss why we think it's a positive thing. It's just my thought to unify together and express our thoughts.
I've had my reservations when we started talking about this. It hasn't changed. The
Your
pandemic-
reservations were about the actual going to town
The
meeting.
timing.
It was the timing with the pandemic, people not getting out, people thinking you're taking the right to vote away without having a plan in place. You're still looking at getting the information out, what other alternative they have to express any concerns about whether or not the budget's too high, too low, whether it's whole or separate. There's a bunch of factors into it.
So you're not on board with joining us to talk about it and say why we think it would be a good thing?
Pros and cons.
Pros
Like I
and-
said, I have my reservations on it. It hasn't changed.
Okay.
I
But-
think if
But I'm asking you,
And I
you don't want to join us.
But
You don't
Amy,
want to join us.
I will think about it.
Okay.
but Amy, if I understand what you're saying is you want to promote attendance
Right.
at the meeting
And
Oh,
discuss
attendance is
it.
fine.
to empower people to have a voice
Right.
and to let them know we are listening.
And
we
this is
want
what
to
we're
hear.
doing, but we're moving forward. This is why we're moving forward with it. We'd love to have you come in Zoom, come in person, because we only had 2 people live in person. It's entirely, I believe it's as safe as going to the supermarket, probably safer.
I have no problem in promoting the attendance either by Zoom or at the meeting.
Okay.
I like this idea, and I think that this showing a united board that we are working together, united to promote this, and to combining the budgets is we need to start combining the town and working together and showing that the effort that we are making to combine the budget is about. We seem
Unity.
to be, the town seems to be separated on 2 different, he said, she said, this one, that one. And it doesn't take away anybody's right to vote. It doesn't take away anyone's right to vote no on it. But I've been thinking a lot about this. If we can take a minute to just discuss it, is I would really like to see us as a town move forward with working closer together, with starting with budget workshops and getting the word out about budget workshops so that people have a voice and that they know that we want to hear what they have to say about, things, costs, budgets, keeping it low, things like that. Really, with Zoom calls and with being able to put it out at Zoom meetings, giving people a voice,
Right.
because
And-
we're elected to do what they ask us to do.
And the great thing is this year, because budget workshops are all going to take place via Zoom, all of our residents will be able to watch. If they can't make the meeting, they can watch it later. And I'm excited for that.
I am too, but I would like for people to have a voice during the process.
Oh, yeah,
This is where I'm
absolutely.
going with this. And I was thinking that if we could stop it from being voted no, if it could be more of a unified effort to get to where we want to be, with individuals having an input and a voice during the process, so that they're not going to the polls and saying, I don't know what's in this, this is too high, I'm going to vote no.
Right.
And combining it does not take away any of their rights. The Board of Finance is still going to look through the entire budget because it is one budget.
Mhm.
So promoting the town meeting, I think with a video or anything, with talking about what's going to be on the agenda, and then, why the changes, just giving them some of the facts of why the ordinances should be changed, we feel should be changed, the whatever,
The budget, the
promote people to
firefighters
attend.
abatement. Yeah.
yeah.
So.
And then the other thing is promoting the budget workshops.
Mhm.
If we could come up with something to pass around on social media, if we could send it out to each one of the boards and committees and commissions and ask them to please read this aloud, the dates. And I know we're talking next week, we're meeting, I think is our first one. So it would have to be something that was put out ASAP.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'll definitely get to work on promoting it to the different boards, commissions, et cetera, in the coming weeks. But you're right, we're right on it. We're hot on it. So maybe Winnie Radio can help us out and talk about our budget workshops coming up. We'll get it onto our Facebook. We'll get it onto our website.
Could
But
we
yeah.
even collaborate with the Board of Education? I know they've already started their process, but just to get the word out about their dates and do one, something that could be shared on a flyer on social media that encompasses the Board of Finance, the Board of Ed, and
Yeah.
the Board of Selectmen, and then the Board of Finance. They
Right.
have their dates set, I think, for the most part. We really want to hear voices before we go out to a referendum.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So,
I mean, I want to follow the direction of the people
yeah.
that we represent.
All right. Any other selectmen comments at this time? Just to keep things moving.
Okay, sorry, we did spend a few minutes there.
Well, it became more like a discussion than a
Well, you
comments
know,
only.
sometimes we don't
Okay.
discuss much, but these are a couple of
Yeah,
things
it's
that I have.
important. It's
Yeah.
important. There's a whole, we hear it all the time, unity, unity, unity. We ran on it, but now it's national. But the truth is it starts at home.
It
If we
starts,
can't work together in our backyards, then how are we going to do it on the national level? So,
yep. That's exactly what I've been thinking about the last couple of weeks.
okay. Any other selectmen comments at this time?
No.
Okay, we'll move on to agenda item 4, citizen comments. And again, you can feel free to unmute yourself if you have a comment at this time. You can also go to the chat section and type in your comments. I will read those out loud. Okay. All right.
John Rice, 30. I was waiting for,
Hey, come
I
on
was
back.
waiting for somebody else to say something, but
Ah,
okay.
how are you, John?
39 East Thompson Road. Question on item 6. Could you identify that 0 Lillian Ave?
Oh,
What is that? I don't know.
that is near Indian Inn Road. Yeah, it's that whole subdivision. I can bring up the map after as well.
Okay. Is that open space?
Yes, open
Okay.
space.
Would I be able to say something at that point?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Any other citizen comments? All right, seeing none, moving on to agenda item 5, land donation to Wyndham Land Trust. As we know, 6 parcels we were granted permission to dispose of. The 7th parcel was approved at Planning and Zoning to additionally offer up to Wyndham Land Trust potentially. It's still in our hands. Attorney Adams is here tonight to share his thoughts. I had messaged him earlier. Looking for the selectmen comments. My thought was that at this time, we don't know what we might need in the future to help prepare the Bull Hill soccer fields. But we did meet with the land trust and it was agreed that we could work together and collaborate in the future. But at this point, sort of the unknown. It's the unknown. It's about 60 acres that we might be donating. It has to go to town meeting. We'd be planning that for the annual town meeting. And hopefully by then we can formulate some type of agreement or plan before presenting it to our voters as a potential for land donation. Attorney, yep, go ahead,
I'm
Suzanne.
sorry, before we take a vote on this, or I don't know that we're even ready to go there yet.
Right.
But Steve, we had talked about having something drafted up that said that there would be an easement or some sort of an agreement that we would be able to use the land, or I can't remember the verbiage. Is that something that you have put any thought into?
Well, and good evening, members of the board. Thank you for inviting me to be present, and thank you for considering this donation to the nonprofit Wyndham Land Trust. It's something that we're certainly willing to do. We did say that an easement probably wouldn't be the best way to go. We don't necessarily want to see anything restricting potential funding sources recorded on the land records. But we would be certainly willing and able to discuss with the town attorney. And perhaps I misunderstood. I thought that somebody was going to be reaching out to the town attorney to have one of them contact us so that we can try to put the parameters around this. But it would be more in the way of a letter of understanding,
Right.
if anything. The Wyndham Land Trust takes pride in the fact that we try to serve as good neighbors with any of our adjacent and abutting property owners. And that would certainly include the town of Thompson. We've enjoyed a long and friendly relationship with the town of Thompson, and are very, have been very outgoing, and as far as sharing information, as far as what our goals are and our plans are, as far as preservation. And given that the town of Thompson and the state's plan is supposed to remain green, we're doing our damnedest to do that with our various preserves. This additional 60 acres would push us over 1,000 total acres in the Bull Hill Preserve, which is really amazing considering we just started the acquisitions about 4 or 5 years ago.
Right.
And it ties everything together nicely, and at the same time takes the responsibility away from the town for managing these parcels and puts it with the land trust, who could then manage it in a comprehensive sort of way as far as forest management and other items like that. So yes, we would be happy to, put something together, but as the first selectman does point out correctly, you don't know what you need yet.
Right.
To get to where you want to be with the soccer field. And in addition, it requires the acquisition of a key parcel, and that current owner is in no hurry to do anything
that's
like
right.
that. So-
Attorney Adams, question. Once let's say you do acquire that, I think it was 116 acres. Let's say the land trust acquires that.
Mhm.
Once it's acquired, would there be I know we're thinking of a memorandum of understanding.
Mhm.
Does that mean the town wouldn't necessarily own any property, but we'd get the use of the property to do what we needed to do?
If you needed,
Potentially.
if you needed it for drainage
Right.
purposes or something along those lines, sure. I don't think it has much other value than that, because in that area, it's pretty wet,
Right.
frankly. And the only, limiting factor for us would be what we would have to do, say, for example, if we receive state funding, which we frequently do under their open space program through the DEP. And that would be something that we'd obviously have to notify the DEP about as far as what our intentions and plans are. But I don't see that impairing anything. As far as,
And likewise, I mean, if the area, obviously the Bull Hill Preserve there's trails, there's things like that. So to be able to have potentially a parking area at some point of even if it's not like paved, if it was just, stone or whatever, for people to just to park. I mean, we would be potentially helping you out as well.
absolutely, you've got a beautiful parking lot up there right now.
Right. Yeah.
And that would eliminate the need for trying to determine other areas, potential areas for parking for access to the public,
Right.
without having to build a parking lot, say, for
Yeah.
example, on Bull Hill Road itself. So,
Yeah.
we work with our neighbors, we work with the towns. Feel free to talk to the town of Pomfret and Selectman Nicholson there, the long relationship there. And we're in conversation with the selectman of the town of Woodstock also, Mr. Swan, about, looking at a similar situation in another preserve.
Okay.
So we'll do what we need to do.
Yeah. Great. Do either selectman have any additional questions for Attorney Adams?
No, I mean, if we can get a memorandum of understanding,
Mhm.
in the next couple of months, it'd be great.
Yeah.
I mean,
Ideally before like April, probably.
before we decide to go to the annual town meeting.
Right.
But that'd be great.
So would you be instructing, was it Ken or?
Ken Slater?
Yeah, Ken.
Yeah, you know what? I'm wondering though, because Rich Roberts is our land use attorney. I don't know if
Okay.
he would be the better avenue.
That's fine. I've got a long and good relationship with Rich.
Yeah, yeah,
And
Rich is a good
animal.
guy,
So,
definitely.
yeah, I'm sure we can put our heads together and figure something out.
Okay, that sounds good. So it was all pending planning and zoning,
Yeah.
giving us the go ahead on that 7th parcel. But I think it's a great partnership. I think the land will be preserved and kept and stewarded the way it should be. So,
Thank you, and thank you again for this opportunity.
okay, thank you so much. Any other discussion on this topic?
Nope, we're good.
All right, we'll get to work on that then.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, Steve.
See you
Have a
later,
good night.
Steve.
You're welcome, and thank you very much. Have a good evening.
You too.
All right, moving on to agenda item 6, 0 Lillian Ave. This was something I brought up at the last meeting. I had received a letter from Mr. and Dr. Matt and Laura. Oh, I hope I say this right. Is it Ginio?
That is correct, Ginny.
Okay. So they own property on 30 Indian Inn Road, and they directly abut 4.2 acres of open space. They are requesting the opportunity to potentially purchase the land. I spoke with the attorney. It would have to stay as open space. Ken Slater informed me, that's our town attorney, had informed me that, well, you have to understand what the intent of the open space was. So Ken and Suzanne, I had sent you documents that Carolyn had produced for me. She had looked back at the meeting minutes when that land was designated as open space. And of course, she had rendered her opinion to us as well. So you should have received all of those documents. But I had asked Mr. Ginio to come in tonight if he'd like to state his case and share his thoughts. I thought he had some valid points. All we'd be doing as a Board of Selectmen would be referring this to Planning and Zoning, who would have the ultimate say as to whether or not we would consider selling the land to Mr. and Dr. Ginio. But Matt, if you'd like to go ahead and speak, this is the owner of 30 Indian Inn Road.
Yeah, hi. Good evening, members of the board. Thanks for allowing me an opportunity to speak here. So yeah, I assume everybody had received, at least, well, I know that the letter was read last time. I was also present for that one, and it sounds like you got some other documentation as well. I guess the only color that I can add is sort of experiential color from being, from abutting this space. So we share a border of 511 feet with that plot of land, which is the longest abutter that in the neighborhood or that borders that property. So what I will say is that in reading the documents that I saw from 2006, it sounds like the intention, the intent for that land was very much always to do with maybe recreation, open space, just, keeping it open and keeping it available to potentially, put a park or some other means of recreation. In practice, what's happened since 2006 is that really it's been more or less neglected. There is a circle, an oval that gets mowed into it a couple of times a year. But what it's turned into because of this sort of somewhat state of neglect is a catch-all for other abutters. So we have things like trucks and boats, firewood piles, pet waste, trash, construction debris, because this is still, there's still ongoing construction sites in the area. There's even been construction debris that I've found from our home that was built in 2014 that, every time I'm walking around the place, I do clean it up, myself. And I would hate for sort of the intent of this space to continue to be kind of, sort of pushed to the side, because obviously, 4 acres, it's not always a priority. We understand that. So what we're proposing is purchasing that land and never building on it. Part of the reason that we want to do this is to sort of be the keepers of our own destiny here, knowing that, sure, 10 years from now, the town may decide that we could further subdivide this, because you can see on this map that it does have some frontage on Lillian Ave, on that cul-de-sac. So if this were to be further developed for any reason, then our experience here, having this sort of flagpole setback lot here on Indian Road, would change pretty drastically. So we're trying to just kind of have some say in what happens with this land, but our intent 100% is just to keep it open and to maintain it, mow it, treat it as part of our yard, and sort of, not have this thing in the center of the community that was, at one point, this was a gravel pit. And, it seems to be sort of reverting back into kind of an ignored space. Additionally, about 800 feet by way of the Crow. So just across from Bonnet Street, Bonnet and Sand Dam. Yeah, exactly. And there's access to that right across from Bonnet Street. So that's owned by the Wyndham Land Trust. That right there is almost a 40-acre parcel, but it's part of a 140-acre parcel that the Wyndham Land Trust owns. That's, I guess that one's 30. And there's 110 other acres on the other side of Jerry's Swamp. So that's the Long Pond, Jerry's Swamp, Wyndham Land Trust land. So in terms of like something that, people would actually, enjoy the hiking trails and enjoy, you can bring paddle boats into Long Pond and all this stuff that Wyndham Land Trust offers. That's sort of the center of recreation in this area. So I'm not sure, what 4.2 acres is going to offer this neighborhood that 140 acres just on the other side of the road isn't. So I think that's kind of my case. All we want is what's best for the community, and we'd love to be sort of the, help in curating that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Matt. No, I thought his points were all very valid when he shared them with me, and I've shared them with you both. I don't see any reason why us as a board wouldn't say, hey, you know what, I think his case needs to be heard to planning and zoning. They may decide otherwise, but I think he has valid reasons. I think he would be a good steward of that property. And the truth is, it would stay as open space. It would not, Mr. and Dr. Ginio would not be able to build or do any type of building on it because it's still designated as open space. But love to hear the thoughts of the board.
So if I'm understanding this correctly, the open space is an ordinance that was, or the lot was received deeded to the town with the stipulation it would remain an open space.
Correct. When the subdivision was created.
When the subdivision was created, correct. And the purpose of that was so that the individuals in that community would have an area that they could use.
Well, it's questionable, and those were the minutes that I sent over to you.
Right, and I didn't.
Yeah.
It's not clearly stated what the use is of the land, is it? Because I didn't see anything.
It's not. Let's see. Robert Wurge questioned, this was from back in 2006. Robert Wurge questioned whether the open space should be deeded to the 9 lots in the subdivision. So there was question back and forth. At one point, I believe, let's see, sorry. Then it says D.R. Heenig, who sat on the board at the time of planning and zoning, offered that the commission has discussed this issue before, and the consensus seemed to be that the open space should be for the use of the neighborhood, not just one property owner, or not just the property owned, the 9 property owners.
Right.
So it's just, but I mean, has it become a dumping ground? Has it become a catch-all? I mean, that's.
And does it get used?
Right. So, and I feel like that's something for planning and zoning to maybe weigh in on, since it originates through them initially, but I would be in favor. I would be in favor of.
Property that John Rice wanted to talk about.
Yep, I believe so.
Sure, let John
Ken
speak.
had something to say, I think.
Mr. Rice, do you have,
I'll let John speak right now.
Okay.
oops, is it, there he is.
The intent of anytime we do acquire open space in a subdivision, it's with the intention that the potential either recreation develop that area. So the other people in the subdivision can have some use, primarily the kids, maybe make a playground, a baseball field or something, but if nobody takes any initiative to do anything, then that land just sits there. And it just becomes, as the individual indicated, a dumping ground. It's unfortunate that none of the neighbors called the zoning enforcement office or the town to say, hey, they're dumping, stuff on your land. That's no different than people dumping it on the roads. There's town roads. Somebody should have taken some action, and but the hang up I have, which probably have to be going to Ken Slater, is that when we get open space, it says that open space should be kept in perpetuity. And I don't know how we would get around that.
Is that, John, is that from the subdivision regulations?
Yes.
Okay, so,
And, when we do that, and providing it has several things that we consider. And mine is always, of course, is a playground for the kids in that development, as we shoot for, but I just can't follow up on everything that
it's-
should be done, but.
right, it's always difficult for the town where we struggle to keep up with the playgrounds that we have and to provide amenities.
Well, again,
It's
like
not
I,
like down
I'm sorry.
south, you have a subdivision and people pay into the association and playgrounds are kept up because everybody, I know I pay an association fee every quarter for my property down south. So it's, yeah.
Well, that's one of the options when we, rather than to the town, it can go to an association that's formed within that subdivision. Then
Unfortunately,
they would own that property and maintain it and
well,
do as they wish, so
we
that,
would still
but they
technically
didn't.
own it, but
Nobody
we would still
steps up.
own it, but they would have the right to do activities on it potentially. But I just think that takes some organization and doesn't, I don't know.
No, at the time of the subdivision, if there's a group in that subdivision that want to take ownership of that, that would be the potential of okaying that, and they would have to maintain it, and of course, they'd have to come up with a plan, just to say we want the land,
Right.
but it could be, that's my opinion, I mean, my interpretation of why I always vote for open space, but we have
And in this
10
case, it would
we
stay,
have 10 members, so.
in this case, it would stay open space, but it would be cared for and stewarded.
Yeah, I don't know, again, the legalese would have to jump in on that, is that I didn't see the rest of that map. I wish it would have been down a little bit, but if that land borders that cul-de-sac rather than Lillian Avenue, I thought it came in off of Lillian Avenue. But if there's frontage on that cul-de-sac, who's to say in 15 years from now, he sells, the couple there sells the property because they own it. I don't know what a battle would be to not put a couple more houses in there.
Just to, and I don't mean to interject. I will say, from our perspective, we're willing to sign anything 7 ways to Sunday that would say it remains open space, not to be built, developed, or resold. I mean, what really matters to us is that it just remains a maintained version of what it is today.
And potentially the language could be that should you sell, that it, Mr. Genio, that it would be put back to the town.
Yeah, that's a possibility. I mean, like I say, the legalese would have to do all that stuff, but I would just want to protect the town, that there's no development being done there, that's why at least I did. I remember when we had that conversation, because I've gone up there several times when we were gonna do that subdivision to see the access to it and everything, but
Right.
I'd be willing to, just long as he's saying, if he wants to own it, there's no house is gonna be built in there and goes back to the town, Amy, I think that's a good alternative.
Right. It's, making that, ensuring that it would come back to the town should he sell potentially.
Yeah, and
I don't know, that detail, I don't think that's an impossibility, but ultimately it's going to be in the hands of planning and zoning.
Yeah.
And it's this board's decision to decide whether or not we refer it to planning and zoning.
and if it's, like I say, if it's a dumping ground right now, I haven't been up there in years, but if it is, and if the individuals own it, I would think they'd keep an eye on it. It
Right.
wouldn't be for the neighborhood, an eyesore.
Yeah, yep. Any thoughts from my fellow selectmen?
Oh, I have a couple of thoughts.
Okay.
I'm not for and I'm not against,
Mm.
looking into this piece of property. Before we move to P and Z, we have to look at, number one, if they are encroaching on the property, then, when spring comes, the snow's gone, we need to walk it, have the people move this stuff back where it belongs. That's, the zoning enforcement officer, that's something that we need to do that we haven't done, and it's been rough, over the past year, even if something were to happen and, to get her out there. Number two, it is recreation. We have a recreation commission. Times have changed. We've only had the property going on 15 years. It was topsoiled. There is some small wetlands that are on there. Recreation has changed from a variety of things. People fly these, planes and helicopters and different things. There is nothing in that area. This is something that we as a board should explore, talk with the rec department to see if there is any potential use for it. And if we deem that it isn't there, and then we entertain and, move it to P and Z. But just as a knee gut reaction, just to turn around and, make this change, it's open space right now, no matter what. Nobody can build on it. Whether it's 5 months, 6 months that we get around to making a final decision after looking at all of the options, we should do our due diligence.
Ken, what were the other options? Because there's no wetlands there, by the way, either. There is no wetlands on that property. At
Well, it
least,
says it on the map. I don't know if there is or isn't.
no, there's not.
Okay, so you got 4.2 acres. I mean, back in the day on Sandan Road, they had a soccer field that was down towards where the llamas were.
We already
Okay.
have a soccer fields we don't use. Give me another use.
I'm talking down the property
And
down.
I agree, there's no time limit. I mean, this is something that we should investigate thoroughly. And I agree with you that we should take our time and, look at it and see what, if there is another use for it, that we as a town would be able to benefit from.
Leslie's been with us, basically 2 short years. And she has different ideas herself. She's still getting acclimated to the town.
Okay.
We should explore. If we don't find the use for it, then we move it to P and Z and, and have that next step in the discussion.
So
Okay, so I expect active thoughts on what the other alternative uses will be.
Sure.
but we're not under any time
No, definitely not.
restraints
I
or
agree.
anything, so
I agree.
restraints, I mean, so we should definitely.
All right, any other thoughts on this agenda item?
No, thank you all for your time.
You're
Thanks,
welcome.
Mr. Ginio. All right, agenda item 7, SBA lease, discussion and possible action. So I really wasn't sure what to think about this. Only a couple of towns in Connecticut have actually accepted this offer. I think it was Oxford and one other. So this is for the cell phone tower. I believe it's the one, Orla couldn't tell me exactly, but I think it's the one on Rich Road. Is there one on Rich Road, Ken?
Yeah, it's property. The access is on Rich Road. We own the property. I believe there's 20 acres up there, something like that. That abuts Wilsonville Road and Rich Road.
Okay, that's what I was gonna look up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So currently, from what Orla had given me, it looks like we bring in about $30,000 a year. but there's two payments listed here, so she couldn't exactly identify. So we have to do a little bit more research. At least I have to get more answers from Orla. So we approximately make $30,000 a year. They're offering a lump sum payment to buy out the communications easement at $550,000. I had referred this to Ken Slater probably about a month and a half ago. It wasn't a huge, it's one of those, it wasn't a priority, so I didn't keep pressing him, but he didn't really have an answer for me because I was curious of what his thoughts were on it. Yeah, so they were looking to potentially buy it out. So this would take approximately 18 years to get up to 550,000. So that's 18 years worth of yearly payments.
Okay, one of the things that I would like to see is the lease, that paperwork that we have
Okay.
on it.
All
That's
right,
what I was gonna ask.
Okay,
For-
we need that for one.
okay,
Because let's face it, a cell phone tower company is not going to do anything. They're
right.
in it to make money.
Mm-hmm.
And
Exactly.
I have to think that they're going to be the managers of the cell phone tower site.
Mm-hmm.
So money comes in from whoever's on the tower. They're in the middle, and then we get the rest. So if they're offering this kind of money, what are we at risk of losing over the course of the lease agreement that's there? Because I'm sure there's renewal dates, from the experience that I had when we put one up in Quinnebog, that
Mhm.
intimate stages with 5-year renewals that automatically kick in unless, one contests it. There's a lot of unanswered questions here. It looks very good, $550,000 lump sum, but, are we leaving money on the table?
Right.
Right,
So if I get, let me search for that lease paperwork, get a copy to you both. And, yeah, we can look into it a little bit more.
And that needs to go to the town attorney as well,
The lease paperwork, you
of
think?
course.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
he needs to base what these dollar figures are on. And,
Right.
because he's looking out for our best interest.
Right.
Amy, if I may, John Rice.
Absolutely, John.
That was also the potential site of the welcoming center that NECOG was pushing. And check with John Philcheck where that might be, but I think that was quite impressive, the way they had that site line set up. People coming from Massachusetts, coming to Connecticut, want to know what's in Connecticut.
Right.
John, that's on an indefinite hold right now with recreation in the state of Connecticut.
Right.
But where the cell phone tower is, it's only a small piece of property that's there.
I thought she said just 20 acres.
No, I said it's on the 20-acre parcel where
Yeah.
the cell phone tower is.
Right.
They have a certain amount that's fenced in at least so nobody can get to the tower. We still have control of the property, for anything else that as open space, etc. But we were going to use that back when that was proposed, just like you were saying, for the welcoming center to come in, we would be able to build on it. But I think what you're looking at, it says the current ground lease, that would have to pertain to what the tower is on right now. And that should be outlined in the lease agreement as to what they have, what's in control.
Yeah.
So they're offering 550,000 just for that small parcel where the tower is?
Well, I'm sure, the other question, even in Quinnebog, when we did ours at the fire station, when Verizon came in and did that, when we built that fire station, we were looking for a new cell phone tower. I mean, a tower for fire communications. Part of the deal that we negotiated with Verizon going back to 2006 in that area was, after so many years, no matter how many carriers went on, we would get proceeds. I believe it was Verizon that put it up. And let's say it was $2,000 a month that Verizon would give us. they would take out a portion of that to pay for the tower. And we ultimately own the tower after. So the fire department will own, or does own, the tower currently, and, you know, everybody else leases off of it. So these are things that you've got to look at in that lease agreement that is out there, and, you know, to review to see, you know, all the integral weaving that's there.
All right, let me dig that up and get it out to us.
Sounds good.
Any other thoughts on this agenda item? I didn't have an opinion either way. I was just looking for additional information. So thank you very much, Ken, for sharing those thoughts. That was helpful.
Yeah, definitely, because this is not something this is new to me.
Oh,
So
yeah. I've been sort of like,
yeah,
so that was really helpful. I appreciate it. All right. Moving on, agenda item 8, budget workshop dates and times estimated. So Suzanne brought to my attention that February 9th is because of vaccine administration at one of your properties, correct?
correct.
That just came up since I've put together this. She cannot attend February 9th at all, which means I'm going to attempt to reschedule. Wondering if the 16th, which would be the day of our selectmen meeting, if I can move all of these dates to the 16th, if that would work. So that would give us two budget workshops one week, 2 budget workshops the second week, and then finishing up that third week with finalizing all of the budget. Ken, does the 16th work for you? I didn't want to start rescheduling until I knew.
At the moment, it does.
Okay, and were there any of the dates that I sent over to you not going to work for you?
No, they all worked at this time.
Okay, great.
And
All right.
I apologize.
You don't
I
have
had
to
no
apologize.
control over the date that these were scheduled. And I mean, it's COVID vaccines for elderly, and it wasn't negotiable. I can't,
Right.
yeah.
It's not a worry. You don't have to apologize whatsoever.
I looked it up. I didn't even actually receive the date until 1/26. So
And I was in the midst of booking everything.
and
Right.
I appreciate.
So,
You know,
so it's
I'm
not
out
a
of work to
deal.
book these. I appreciate, your willingness to change the date.
Yeah, I'll reach out to everybody tomorrow and hopefully it should work out, would be my thought. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thanks, Ken.
All
You're
right,
welcome.
agenda item, unless there's any other discussion on that, we'll move on to agenda item 9, appointment of Kenneth Beausoleil to the MISRAC as a MISRAC alternate.
So I'll make the motion that we appoint Ken Beausoleil to the Mizrac.
As to MISRAC, the Mill Site Redevelopment Advisory Committee.
It's a committee. Okay, that's what I was trying to
Yeah,
find.
as an alternate for the town
As
of,
an alternate.
and the term would be indefinite.
Do you want to second it?
I'll second that.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to abstain.
I know, I was just waiting for Amy to.
Sorry, I was waiting for you to say, yeah, it's indefinite. That's right. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on this item?
I just have a question, Ken. You can probably answer this. With having being on the Board of Selectmen, there's no ordinance or anything that would prevent us from being appointed to a committee or commission or something, or advisory committee, is there?
Not that I'm aware of.
Not, okay.
Right.
And there's no conflict as far as I'm concerned with, I just wanted to ask that.
And I mean, Ken, you sit in on like every single MISRAC meeting for the most part.
Yeah, for the last 5 years, I've been
This would just
sitting in
put
on
it
those meetings, and being ex officio like Amy is now, you're part of the meetings. You may not vote, but you can obviously have a discussion, and help the committee out, with knowledge. So this way, I attend all the meetings. I can only make a comment properly is when during citizens' comments.
Right.
So this will allow And I have, as long as they have an agenda, I have no vote, if they have their full people
They
there.
have the
Because
quorum.
it's acting as an alternate, just like P and Z
Alternate,
does,
yeah.
where you seat somebody accordingly, so.
I have no problem with it. I'm good.
Yeah, me
Any
too.
further discussion?
No.
Okay, all in favor of appointing Kenneth Beausoleil to the Mill Sites Redevelopment Advisory Committee as an alternate for the Town of Thompson, term to end indefinite, say aye.
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 And I abstain.
Ken will abstain,
Aye,
nobody
Ken.
opposed, and that passes.
That one's all set. Rec director.
All right. Agenda item 10, Recreation Director, Camp Bus RFP, discussion and possible action. And Leslie, you are here. Is there anything, or actually first, Selectmen, are there anything that you had to ask, or are there any questions Leslie's here to answer?
I looked it over. I mean, right now, the whole program still hinges based on what the state is going to do with aquatic, because of the pandemic.
Right.
And whatever agreement that we come up with DATCO or whoever one of the bus companies are, that one's just the one we currently use, for the school side of it. That, that part of it, I think, is in there from what I read, that, we don't know if we can actually do this or not based on the current pandemic issues. So,
Yeah.
Was there any, is there an option of just using DATCO, or was it not really cost prohibitive, or?
We went out to bid in 2019 because prior to that we had been using the town-owned buses. So my predecessor went out to bid in 2019 because it was going to be over the $10,000 amount. As you see in the bid, I made some adjustments. In 2019, there were 2 bus routes. We just didn't have the enrollment to support the 2 bus routes. We were averaging, in the morning, 19 campers on one bus, 12 on the other, and then in the afternoon, 14 on one and 11 on the other. So I've combined those bus routes into one route, as you saw on the bid. If we had only had one bus route in 2019, it would have been, under the 10,000, but with the potential increase in pricing, it may be over that 10,000, which is why you need to, when we need to go out to bid, that threshold. So that's why I put the bid together. Ken, you're right. It does state in the bid that it's only awarded if Quadic grants us permission. I have been in touch with Quadic. They said to call back in February. They would hopefully have some more information, but I would anticipate us not signing something until, that April, maybe even May time, until we for sure know that we will be able to operate there. The only other possibility is that if we do have a second site, or we're moving the location of our camp, having to go out to bid again, that possibility for a different route. But
So if I could ask, Leslie, why is it that the rec department goes out to bid separately than this, and is not like combined with the school, or help me understand?
yeah, I think that that's definitely a possibility, especially since we've been talking more about, combining. I think that I'm not so sure. I don't know, because it was prior to my arriving, how much rec was involved in the decision to go out to bid for DATCO and to no longer use town buses. And though that did affect summer camp, in 2019, seeing an increase of basically around $8,000 in busing costs because we weren't using town buses for summer camp. So I do think that it's a conversation I could have with Melinda and the Board of Education, with Superintendent Smith, and have that be one bid, and have this camp included in it. Is definitely a possibility moving forward. I think just with the transition of, going, no longer losing town buses, and then a change in recreation directors, it hasn't been that yet, but I certainly think it could be going forward.
Yeah,
you would have to do that when the when that contract comes up for renewal. There's got to be at least a couple of years left on that. This is what, our second or third year into it. So, you know, I'm sure there's stuff in the school part for the school for extra runs, recreational stuff and that, but that was for the school to do. Whether or not we could piggyback onto that, I don't know. You know, right now her only avenue would be, you know, to go out to bid or see if they could adopt those rates, but you'd have to look at what those rates are, Leslie, to compare what, you know, DACO gave you last year,
Mhm.
you know, separately.
So Amy, would that be you reaching out to Melinda, or would it be Leslie? I know you guys, Leslie, you've done a lot with the school this year. Who would, because I'd really like to see us try to, you know, unite more and work more closer with the school. If that, and if we could save money somehow, that's really beneficial.
Yeah,
That's
I
what it's all about.
like Ken said, I'm not sure when when their contract expires with DATCO, but certainly Amy, if you want to let her know that when it does, that rec would like to be involved and consider doing one bid or adding the camp transportation to the bid for the school.
Yeah.
I think they probably did. My guess is they signed a 3-year, so they're in probably.
It's 5 years.
Oh, it's 5. Okay,
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was
it's going
thinking.
to be a while then.
Yeah,
They're probably in what, year 3, Ken? Is this year 2 or year 3?
3, right?
You think we're in that year
I
3
think it's
right now?
3, yeah.
So I just asked Bill, he said it's a 3-year contract and
Oh,
he believes, but don't hold him to it, it expires this year.
okay.
So if we could somehow work together, that would really,
But what do we do at this, what do we do at this point? Because Leslie's gonna need her numbers in place.
oh, for the budget.
Right. Well, just for planning purposes for the summer program. I mean, we could just move forward. DATCO has every right to bid, but in the future, we could plan to work together. And
Or we could put in what was spent, not last year, but the year before, whatever, as far as the budget goes, and just have that conversation with the school. And then at our next meeting, maybe we would have some different answers.
well, we could still, but you're still saying we could still move to go out to bid and then potentially find a different avenue. Is that what
Yeah,
you're,
make it part of the, possibly make it with the part of the next contract.
right? I just don't want to hold Leslie up and getting.
No, she's got to go out. She's got to go out for RFP.
And then we can just do additional research. Is that what you're, for the future?
I don't want to go out for RFP if we are able, if they're up for, if their contract is up and we are able to somehow come to terms to work together and have it written into the contract for the school, that we can, it would be a waste of time for her to go out to bid.
Yeah, but she's going out to bid for this summer program right now.
Right.
When is the contract up?
I'm sorry, they're 5-year contracts, not 3-year, the 5-year
It
contract.
was 5.
And how long have we had? It's our 3rd year, so.
Okay, I'm sorry. He said he misspoke. It's a 5-year contract. And it's probably 3 years into it. And it's not negotiable each year that you could add on to.
You can add anything you want.
Right. For the summer though, or is it?
The buses are idle all summer. You just have to contract with them. It can't come out of the school budget,
No,
so
it has to be a separate contract through the rec department?
I'm sure they can do an add,
An amendment or an addendum or
you can probably rent them by the day.
it might be worth having a conversation before going out to bid.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm well, it might be, but I just don't want to hold up this process because we don't have to accept the bids necessarily.
You can. But if they know that you're gonna go out to bid and you're gonna ask them for to bid on it, that you're maybe gonna pay privately, they may not be so generous, or they may, not be as willing to work with the school to add on buses for the summer.
I don't know.
In the contract, if I remember correctly, you have additional runs and the costs associated in there. That's something that Leslie can review, just looking at the current contract to have an idea of what they charge the school for any additional, above and beyond what the contract's calling for.
Correct. And that's exactly what to see if they can find out what it would cost them to do these runs, and then it could actually be in the rec department budget and where they pay the school. Am I correct? Is
That would
what
be,
you're
that would
suggesting?
have to be a transfer of money from the town to the school.
Right.
So Suzanne, what you're proposing is that I look into what the possibility of adding these runs to the school's DATCO contract.
And then the rec department would,
Yeah, of
it
course.
wouldn't become part of the school budget per se. It would become part of, it would still be your budget, and you would have to, as Ken said, have the money transferred over to the school.
Yeah, but just in order to get hopefully get a better rate from DATCO
Yes.
to then piggyback onto theirs and add on it. I mean, I certainly can do that. I do know that I came in towards the tail end of accepting the DATCO bid last year. That's who did our camp busing last year. And I know that they, because they do also work with the school, that they tried to align that as much as possible, I think price wise, but I certainly can, reach out to Melinda and ask about that possibility, and then to the Board of Ed about adding those runs to their already existing contract with DATCO. And
I just think it's worth having a conversation.
Well, you know what you paid last year. If you look at their contract and speak with the school, you'll see what their extra costs are. It'll give you some idea how comparable it was. As a board, we can authorize you to go out for RFP if needed. I mean, it's not a problem. So we don't have to wait
So
another
Leslie, after you
couple
have
of
that
weeks.
so we can authorize the RFP, but if you have that conversation with her and find out you're gonna save a lot of money,
yeah,
then
She doesn't have to go out.
exactly.
absolutely. I mean, of course, yeah, we want to find the most cost effective. The other alternative to, not running aquatic would really be to be, running a program on the grounds at the school, whether it's in the school or on the outside grounds of the school. And my thoughts around that were also similar to yours, Suzanne, was to piggyback off on the school transportation for summer school. We have students who are already being, taken to the school for summer school, couldn't it be the same busing that's taking those students, to camp or summer school, whichever destination they're going to, if we were to be held at the school. So that's kind of a backup plan B if aquatic is not available. And I do not know yet what the school's plans are for summer school and if they're going to be running a summer school program or what that looks like for them. But
I mean, maybe there's some way to intertwine those bus runs too. If they're picking up kids in the same neighborhood, like to be able to offset costs.
So it's sort of a moving target anyways, right, Leslie, with the unknown still hanging over us again this year.
yeah, I mean, ideally we would have summer camp registration open by, I'd say, April 1st at the latest, really. And knowing what our costs are going to be and knowing what our location is going to be. What a challenge was last year was it was just pushed back so late that we lost the potential for families registering because we had not secured a location. So these kinds of decisions, really get made this time, January, February. If you're making them into March or April, you've lost the potential for families already. So, but I do, completely want to save our families money. It's not the bus, this cost is not part of the rec budget. This is a direct cost to the families who are paying for camp. So it's a huge expense for them, and transportation.
And in that respect, from my point of view, it's almost right for you to, even though we might be able to work with DATCO, is it better still to go out to RFP? Because what if we get a price based on working together with the school? Because the school has no control over what price is given, but maybe Leslie's missed an opportunity to get a lower cost. I mean, I want to work with the school, but we're not working with the school in this case. We're working with DATCO. And I don't know. I just want to make sure that, like you said, that you can give your families the best price.
That's my motive.
And going to RFP though might be the way to ensure that we get the best price. Yeah, we should do the research first, but I don't know. We're missing the opportunity if we don't at least see what the other prices might have been. I don't know.
Yeah.
So we can authorize the RFP, as Ken said, and then as needed.
Okay.
And then if Leslie doesn't mind having a conversation with Melinda to talk about what the needs are and how they could intertwine the two schedules possibly, I'm not sure what, then she doesn't need to go out to RFP.
Sure.
She just needs to let us know what's going on.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
No, it's very possible this year due to, the homeschooling and everything that she may get several different bidders because they're in need of work.
Right.
I don't know.
There's always a possibility, so.
All right, so I'll make the motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to go out to camp bus RFP
As needed.
It's needed.
as needed.
For
As needed.
conversation with the superintendent.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion on this topic? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And that motion passes. All right, on to agenda item 11 for its other business, further discussion, and that would be charging the building committee with the potential of improvements at the Bull Hill soccer fields and the potential for a school track. You have the floor, Suzanne.
So it was just, as you both know, and the soccer fields are one of the things that I would love to see usable again, brought back to a place that they're able to use them, because the kids in town don't really have a lot in terms of recreation. And the track has been 20 some odd, 30 years, 20 years,
Unusable.
20 plus years, they have not been usable. And that's something that, I would love to see some investigation into, how it could be, maybe even a combined, maybe there's more we could do up at Bull Hill.
Well, when I had toured, Leslie, Rich and I had toured a lot of the different parks and recreation areas back in the fall. And when I toured Bull Hill, I look at it and I actually envision a track, a football field or a lacrosse field or a soccer field, just a combination. I just picture more than just soccer fields there. And it's not unheard of for a track to be off-site. I know Woodstock has their site, the high school has their track that the middle school uses as well, but it's off-site. It's a whole complex, the Bentley complex, I think it's called.
Right.
So it's not unheard of, but yeah, I think it's worth exploring. I think we're going to need some grant funding.
You're talking about like a sports complex?
More of a sports complex of some sort, potentially. It needs to be, I picture it being bigger, better, with all of the preserve that's all around it is just incredible recreational area.
You're right. And here I was just thinking about two separate, the track up to the school and but you're right. There's a huge possibility.
I just think we limit ourselves if we just say it's a soccer field. So, but that's just my thought. But I'm perfectly fine with seeing if the building committee.
John Rice, can we add to your charge?
No,
Yeah.
just kidding. We don't have enough to do.
I heard that you were finishing up some of your projects and you needed something else to do.
Yeah, right. I don't know if the term finishing up or giving up on our projects probably. Uh, just for your information, and I haven't brought the numbers, although the current building committee, we are in the background. Myself, Bill Birch has been looking at that field at the school, that track, and we had a Rad Sports just to give us an idea of what it would cost and what would it be, have to be done. But actually, I was gonna wait till we get reimbursed to get some money, not necessarily reimbursed, but see if we spent all the money for that oil spill or that tank replacement, not the oil spill, but the tank replacement. If we had a few dollars left over from that, that I could approach the selectmen to go to the Board of Finance and use that surplus money that was bonded to do that investigation. So that might be the way to go, is that once we wrap up that, and we're getting pretty close to that, that tank replacement, to have it finalized, then we'll know if we have any surplus money, and we can use that money to investigate what you're saying, is make it a sports complex, at Bull Hill. I've been up there twice, I think, in my life. When it first started, for some reason, I went up there to do something, but yeah, the bottom line is, yeah, I think if you add that to our charge, I feel we could look at that.
That would be great. The soccer fields, when my kids were little, they were, I think, somewhat new. I don't know when they were actually opened, but they were great fields, and Saturdays and Sundays, the place was packed every night in the summer, and I mean, in the spring and fall, and the places were packed. They had someone from actually, I don't even know where the funds went to, selling snacks, and it was a great way for kids to get outside, get exercise, learn how to play soccer, learn how to play on a team. And then when my granddaughter started playing, which was only like 2 years, maybe 3 years ago, when we first stepped on the field, we were up to our ankles in water. So and now they don't use them at all. The kids have to go to Woodstock and other fields, Putnam, and so we don't really even have town fields. And we have a great piece of property there. So I would welcome that. And as Leslie knows, that's been one of my.
I was just gonna say, Suzanne's been tugging at my arm about Bull Hill since I stepped foot into the town hall less than 2 years ago. So certainly, the last year has been pretty challenging with COVID and stuff. But Suzanne, I did sort of start putting together a list of, we talked about all the folks that have a handle in it and on Bull Hill and have knowledge about it. And I definitely would love to have the guidance of, John Rice and the building committee, working through a major project like that. I think it's really, for me, something larger than I've handled. And so would, definitely want to be a part of the team looking at that. The same vision that Amy had. I went up to Bull Hill within the first week or two that I had started, and a little less than 2 years ago. And I imagined the same thing. I saw pavilions and people picnicking and, fields and lacrosse and, opportunities for just recreation. And so it is a beautiful piece of property and, trail runs and those things. So I think putting all the folks together that, need to be a part of that group and looking at it. And, when Amy and I went up there this past November, I think as well, the same thoughts, envisioning it being something. And she did request that I keep it. It was on the table last year as a capital project. And she did request that I continue to do that so that it's, in front of the Board of Selectmen and in front of the Board of Finance as an ongoing need. We know there are a lot of needs, but it is definitely an opportunity. It's not just a need, it's an opportunity for development and growth and, recreation for our families and kids.
Love it.
I love this discussion.
Yeah.
I hope that the building committee finds a way that something like this can be developed.
So,
The motion to add it to the building committee's
Charge.
charge.
okay, so
Second.
Ken made the motion to add this to the building committee charge. And that would be exploring the Bull Hill soccer fields and potentially track, etc. Yeah, any further discussion? All in favor of adding this charge to the building committee, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? And that motion passes.
Amy, if I may, could you send that to the building committee,
Yes, yes, sir, I will.
that new charge, please? Thank
Yes,
you.
I will.
Thank you, John, and thank you to the building committee.
All right. Any other business that either selectmen and myself, any of us want to add to the meeting tonight? All right, hearing none. We'll
Thank you,
move
Leslie.
on to citizen comments. Citizen comments. Okay, my husband has given me a citizen comment. So Dottie, this is from Jason St. Ange, 139 Riverside Drive. He is currently has a GoFundMe page for the Thompson Animal Shelter if anyone wants to help. He has currently raised $1,810
Wow.
to go towards the animal shelter, helping the animals out. What we're realizing is there are oftentimes a lot of vet bills. When an animal that's in poor condition comes in, we have to make sure that they get adequate medical care. So, and additionally, the building will continue to need repairs, etc. Jason, how do they find this? Just go to the GoFundMe and look up Thompson Animal Shelter if anyone wants to help with the initiative. So,
Thank you, Jason. That's awesome.
any other citizen comments? Okay, hearing none. I will move on to agenda item 13, tax refunds. I'll make a motion that we refund Kathleen Carcutt, $26.96. Matthew D. Durand, $98.01. Richard E. and Tina M. Conoyer, $33.41. Bernard E. And Cynthia L. Oh, I don't have my notes. $68.94. Dottie, I will get you their last name. ACAR Leasing Ltd, $210.10. Honda Lease Trust, $259.87. And Erica Strike, $37.58 for a total of $734.87 in tax refunds.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on that? All in favor of these tax awarding the, or
Aye.
yeah,
Aye.
tax refunds? It's been a long night. Aye. That motion passes. I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and the meeting is adjourned at 8:33 p.m.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Good night.